Hey, what's up, gamers? Today we're going to be looking at my Sega Saturn collection. This is my North American titles. Here is Astal. You see, this title is one of the rare titles without the spine title. Baku, Burning Rangers. Pretty expensive now. Clockwork Knight, Darius Guided, Daytona CCE Netlink. Here again I have two of them, and again I doubled up on the Netlink titles because my brother was out in Arizona, and I really wanted to play him over the Netlink. Again, this was back in 95, 96, and I believe recently somebody sold this on eBay for about $5,000, $3,000. It was over $3,000. I believe it was $4,500. I'm not sure. Anyway, here's the Decathletes, two Duke Nukums, which also has Death Tank SOA. It's an awesome game for multiplayer. 4 players, can't beat it. Well, maybe except for Saturn Bomberman. Enemy Zero, one of the later titles, one of the last titles released for the system. Fighting Vipers, Mist. You can see this is pretty tore up. One of the rare titles that I have that's in this type of condition. Just needed to have it at that time because I really have fond memories of this. This was actually my first game. That and Virtua Fighter, my first games played on the Saturn, which I rented from Blockbuster. I never owned it, but again, I found this at a retro game shop here in Hawaii, which is no longer there, unfortunately, out in Wahiawa. Moving along, this is Guardian Heroes, NBA Action, Power Play, which is one of the better, Power Play, one of the better hockey games that you can play at that time. Night Warriors, Panzer, first Panzer. This one is pretty tore up too. And again, this is one of the first titles that I did play on the system, which I actually rented from Blockbuster way back when. Panzer's Y, Panzer Saga, 2 of them. This one is that factory sealed. The story about getting another copy of Zwei was a friend on the Sega Saturn boards. I used to be on a Netlink back then. Actually advised to pick up the later releases for the system because it's going to be rare. And lo and behold, I'm glad I purchased that extra copy. I do have receipts for them. I believe I purchased this from Ala Moana over at Electronics Boutique, which also is not there anymore, unfortunately. Quake, Saturn Bomberman, Sega Ages. I believe Working Designs released this one. Touring Car. Now the story about Touring Car, which I have, is that I used to be the top-ranked American for this game. This game actually lets you post your best times on a world rankings board, which is also available in the Japanese version. And I don't know if it's available to you PAL gamers, but yeah, I was the top-ranked guy. I have some pretty amazing times on this, and maybe that's one video I'll make in the future, showcasing my times and maybe some Sega Rally replays, which I also played the heck out of. Awesome games. And that's the thing about Sega games, is that the depth comes from the replayability. It's not just about completing the game, it's about posting or having your best times, or having the best scores for them, which is more akin to their arcade legacy. But I really love that aspect of it because you don't have to sit through a game for a couple hours to get the maximum enjoyment out of them. Shining Force 3, again, a later one of the last titles released for the system. Sonic R, Steep Slope Sliders, again, one of the better snowboarding games out there. Street Fighter Collection, 2 VFs. This is one of the rare North American titles, again, that I did purchase later through eBay. I saw a sealed version, I had to get it. Virtua Fighter Kids, Virtualon, World Series Baseball 98. I cannot say enough about this title. I believe this is the best baseball video game that you can play, even today. The whole gameplay part of it really mimics the psychology of baseball. Virtualon, the 3 free games, and Nights. I believe Nights is continuing to be one of the more misunderstood games. To me, it's more of a racer. Trying to post your best times, your best scores, doing your best at that level. You can just complete it, but again, true enjoyment is refining your skills in it and getting your posting your best times. The thing about Virtualon too, if you guys are veterans on the internet or the Sega scene, I did have a Virtualon website, a Voot website, dedicated to the Dreamcast version, called Voot 411, so you might know me from that. Here's my copy of Daytona Netlink. You can see I double bag it, then I put it into the game case. See just how pristine this case is. No surface scratches. There's none. It's sort of the surface scratches that you would have when rubbing two of these cases together over time. Which again, I put them in a plastic container for all these years. And it was only recently I actually got to make this display. And let me show you what's a good idea for these, especially for these US Saturn titles, to keep the manual from curling. I just cut some comic cardboard backers to size and just slip them in. That way the manual won't start curling up on you, especially if you live in places like here in Hawaii. It's pretty straight. There's the Netlink version. Again, the only way you didn't know to distinguish if it is a Netlink is by the manuals and also the disc itself. So here's the actual supplement manual, which is black and white. Also the supplements that you have with it, for this VF3 one, and also this is the VF3 one, and I believe this was the 3 free games. Yep. So that is truly a 100% copy. And again, I got my copy way back in the day because my first exposure was actually through the Netlink. I bought my Netlink on launch day, and this is my first exposure to the internet, and pretty much that's how I started with the online community, was through the Netlink. And from the Netlink I learned HTML, how to make my website. I believe it was GeoCities or Angel Fire back then. It was called Sagaholic. I did actually run a website from the Netlink, which was pretty tough to do because of the memory constraints of the Saturn. Now here's my import titles. Actually here's some CD jewel case size games. I think it's Virtua Fighter, and also the Netlink browser here. Let's see what these are. Some pack-in games from some of the consoles I got later. This is Virtual Cop, Burning Rangers, which are completed. This is the Japanese version. Fighting Vipers, Dynamite Deca, Fighters Mega Mix, Last Bronx, Metal Slug, Pocket Fighter, Power Drift, Dead or Alive. This is the limited edition version, which has, I believe it was a music CD that was additionally available for it. Yeah. Fire Pro Wrestling, The House of the Dead. Just killed my my index finger, and I remember playing the Stunner games and just playing the heck out of them. Actually, my eyes got pretty bad from them. King of Fighters 95, which SNK skimped out on the back insert. So when you put it on, there's nothing. King of Fighters 96, 97, big fan of KOF games. Marvel vs. Street Fighter. I believe this is this is Samurai Shodown 4. Robot Fatal Fury, Sengoku Blade, a great shooter. Thunder Force 5, excuse me. A great shooter. UW was on them. I can't recommend this enough. Thunder Force Gold Pack. This was actually given to me by one of the guys I met on the Saturn forums. I believe Travis Poole gave this to me. He was my partner in the websites that we used to run back then. Virtua Fighter 2. This one was a packed-in game with one of the consoles that I bought recently. So that was just thrown in. Virtua Fighter Kids. Here's the Java T version, which was purchased off eBay. just so again, for a time I actually collected most of the Virtua Fighter titles. Wipeout XL, I had to get this one because I'm such a huge Wipeout fan, XL fan. 2097. Great game. This is later purchased through eBay. Again, most of my games here were actually accumulated as titles that I bought during launch or close to launch. I would say about 80 to 90% of these titles were bought brand new and at launch or close to launch. I remember driving down to Toys and Joys here in Hawaii and picking up these titles for $50, $60, pretty expensive back then. These Virtua Fighter CG portrait titles were purchased later. Here's Street Fighter vs. X-Men, and also the King of Fighters collection, which includes 95, 96, and 97. And you can see here most of my games, or all of my import games, has the registration card and the spine card. This is Vampire Savior. I even seen my receipts. This one was actually purchased from NCS way back in 98, April of 98. As you can see here on my copy of Power Drift, again, the registration card, if you didn't know, is specific to each game. See the title there. Also saved all of the inserts, so again, most of my games are as complete as can be. Here's some of the hardware I have. Saturn specific is the version 2 Virtua Stick, and also the 2-player Virtua Stick. Pretty expensive if you're going to be buying that. Shipping for that big box is pretty expensive, especially here to Hawaii, which is kind of a bummer if you are collecting here on the islands. It's because we have to pay for shipping, some really terrible shipping prices that we do pay. Here's my white Saturn, purchased later. Again, that's my original Saturn up there, which was purchased I believe about a month after launch. I actually put this on Veil Hit. I was working at Kmart at the time. And the only thing wrong about this box is that layaway tag. But other than that, the box is in quite awesome condition. And my Netlink here, I had 2 game packs. Again, I had to get 2 of each Netlink game. Virtual On and Sega Rally, obviously. One thing about the Sega Rally games that I want to point out, if you do play Sega Rally, which I sold my original copy to, it's not here, the game save will get corrupted if you do put in the Netlink version and you have a original Sega Rally non-Netlink version game save on it. If you do have, especially your replays are going to be deleted. A lot of people don't know that the Saturn could actually hold replays of the Sega Rally replays, but they took up a whole ton of space. I believe it was over 1,000 blocks. So if you have like some incredible times and replays, those will be erased. And since the blocks are over 1,000, it's a good reason to get the Saturn floppy disk drive that was available only in Japan. And it's pretty pricey now on eBay. I plan to get one just so I can save my my current Sega Rally replays on disk and not risk corrupting them. And that's again a good reason to get the floppy disk. Is for Sega Rally because of those blocks requirements. And let's see what we have here. Virtua Cop and Virtua Cop 2. Had to get like 2 guns for them. This was purchased later through eBay. And my other consoles include my recently modded V-Saturn. I made a video on that earlier, about 4 days ago. Also, my skeleton Saturn. That I recently got off of Yahoo Japan. If you're getting your hardware through eBay, especially for these rare ones, you get a better deal to use. Sheriff, you got deputy services for Yahoo Japan, and also another V-Saturn. This is with the official Victor Saturn controller. I recently started collecting again. Then I found out about the Framemeister here, which is an awesome investment, especially if you're using an LED TV. Games come out razor sharp. Can't recommend this enough. Also, I have my white Saturn here, a modded American version. Here. This is actually a Japanese. Purchased this through eBay, and someone actually modded this to be a Japanese system with an American shell. But this one also has a mod kit in it. My first modded Saturn, and also a regular Model 2 Saturn, American Saturn.